Welcome to another episode of the Clueless Dudes Real Tool Reviews. Today we're looking at the hypertough brushless impact driver. It is $45 here at Walmart, runs on a standard 20-volt battery that the other hypertough 20-volt tools run off of. This is the brushless motor version, and we're going to be testing it with a 2 amp hour battery that came with it. Alright guys, let's get started with some testing. First thing we're going to do is go over what comes inside the box. We're going to go over its basic features, and then we're going to do an endurance test. Alright guys, enough blah 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 stuff. Time to get started.
Alright guys, let's take a look at what comes inside the box. In addition to the impact driver itself, it also comes with this 20 volt 2 amp hour battery. This is one of the newer 2 amp hour batteries that has the little switch on the front that lets you see the fuel gauge or how far charged the battery actually is. In addition to that, you get this battery charger. This end plugs into the wall, this end slides over the battery, just like so. Once it's slid into place, you're going to see that there'll be 2 lights on here, a red light and a green light. When the red light is on, you know the battery is charging. When you only see the green light, you know the battery is fully charged. When that happens, you can remove the battery from the charger and you can place it directly into the impact driver, just like so. Once it's on, you're more or less ready to go. In addition to what I've showed you so far, it also comes with a number 2 Phillips head bit. Why does it have a number 2 Phillips bit? Who knows? It comes with one and you can store it right about there. It also comes with a belt clip. For some reason, I did not get a belt clip, but that was probably because I had an open box special. I got this one half off at my local Walmart because someone had torn the box apart and it was just kind of lying there in pieces. So they gave me half off and I bought it, but it is brand new and never been used. All right, guys, that's all there is that came with the box. Now let's go over its basic functions and features to see how it works.
Up next, we're going to go over the basic functions and features of this impact driver. I do have a really quick request though. I don't get paid by YouTube for people watching my videos until I get over 1,000 subscribers, and I'm nowhere near 1,000 subscribers. So if you don't mind, please hit that subscribe key if you're finding this video useful. Alright guys, let's look at the basic features and functions of this impact driver. Here we go.
Let's go over the basic functionality and features of this impact driver. It has, obviously, a trigger just like a drill would, and if you pull slowly, you can hear it's a variable speed trigger. That is, the more you pull it, the faster the chuck's going to spin. There's also a forward and reverse switch on the sides. You push it one way for reverse, the other way for forward, and in the middle is locked. In addition to that, you may have noticed that there's a light on the front. That light is kind of nice because it stays on for several seconds after pulling the trigger and releasing it so that you can use it, let's say, to line up a bit onto something you want to drive without the bit actually spinning. What else does this do? Well, perhaps the most important thing is on the front. You have this quick release chuck. You'll see that I'm able to slide this chuck forward and backwards. It springs back into place. When it's in the forwardmost position, you can take a bit and you can slide it in there. Once you slide a bit in, you release the outer part of the chuck, or the quick release chuck, and that bit's really in there. I mean, it is really in there. It's not coming off. In order to remove it, you have to slide the outer portion of the quick release chuck forward, and then you can pull this right out without any problem. That's it. There really isn't much more to this. It's an impact driver.
Now we've completed reviewing the basic functions features of this impact driver. Let's do some actual demonstrations. I'm going to do an endurance test all on a single charge that consists of all of the following. First, putting in a 1/4 inch, 1/3 inch, and 1/2 inch lag bolt into pressure treated 4x4. Then I'm going to put 81 decking screws into that same piece of pressure treated 4x4, followed by a second run of placing those same lag bolts back into the pressure treated 4x4 to see how much slower it is after doing 81 decking screws. Again, all this is on a single charge. If you find this kind of testing helpful, I'd appreciate it to hit the subscribe key. The reason is YouTube will not pay me until I get over 1,000 subscribers, and I'm nowhere near 1,000 subscribers. And if I don't get paid by YouTube, I end up living in a van down by the river. Alright guys, let the testing begin now.
Here's the setup for the endurance test. On the left side, we have a spot for a 1/4 inch lag bolt, a 1/3 inch lag bolt, and a 1/2 inch lag bolt. In the center, we have a place for 81 decking screws, and then to the right, we have another spot for a 1/4 inch lag bolt, 1/3 inch lag bolt, and 1/2 inch lag bolt. What's going to happen is on a single charge, I'm going to try to go through this entire board, and we're going to see how well it does. And to keep it consistent, I'm going to stop the second the socket hits the wood. Now it's time for the 1/3 inch lag bolt. 3, 2, 1, and go. Three, two, one, and go. There you go. Time to put in 81 decking screws, and we'll see how it goes. After we're done with that, we'll repeat this same test and see the speed difference, if any. Here we go. It's time to put 81 decking screws into this pressure-treated 4x4, and we'll see how long it takes, and then we'll repeat the lag bolt test afterwards. Here we go. 3, 2, 1, and go. Alright guys, so we've got 3 more to go. We have 79 done. If we take a look, you can see here that it's down to, just 1 bar. That's it. So let me show you the last 3 in real time so you can see about how fast they're going in. And here we go, 3, 2, 1, and go. And finally, number 81. So there you go. I just finished the last one. It's at 1 bar, so we've done 3 lag bolts, 81 decking screws, and now we're going to try the lag bolts again.
If you find this kind of testing helpful, I'd appreciate it if you help me keep my retirement hobby going by hitting the subscribe key. By hitting the subscribe key, it will increase the chances that YouTube someday will pay me per view for these videos.
Doing 1/4 inch into the 4x4. 3, 2, 1, and go. Okay, it has stopped. I'm going to show you right now that this light is flashing. That's an indication that the battery is not quite up to par right now. Understandably, it is down to, before 1 bar, built up a little bit of a surface charge. Let's see where it is right now. It's at 1 bar. And I'm going to try again and see if it'll keep going. And there you go, so it finished. I'm going to try the same thing now with the 1/3 inch lag bolt and the 1/2 inch lag bolt. Here we go. Alright guys, 1/3 of an inch lag bolt. Here we go. 3, 2, 1, and go. Alright, once again it stopped. So as you can see, we're back to the flashing light again. And we also take a look here, we can see we're at 1 bar. I'm trying to push it the rest of the way in here and see if it'll go. Alright, there you go, it did finish. 3, 2, 1, and go. Alright guys, as you can see, it didn't get very far, and it's already flashing.
As we can see from the endurance testing, that for the first run where you did the 1/4 inch, 1/3 inch, and 1/2 inch lag bolts, that they were able to go much faster than they could after doing 81 decking screws. Specifically, let's take a look at the 1/4 inch lag bolt test, and you can see before doing 81 decking screws, it took 6.9 seconds versus the 11.2 seconds. Now, having said that, the 11.2 was actually longer because it had to stop a few times. I was only counting the time that the bit was actually spinning and driving the lag bolt in. So is this unreasonable? I don't think so. I think for an entry-level tool, a brushless model is doing a great job. Specifically, that it's able to do 81 decking screws, and my guess is it probably could have done close to twice that number if I hadn't done the lag bolts before and after before running out of steam. I don't know if it's truly double the number like 162, but someplace around there would seem reasonable given that it put in those decking screws without any problems at all. It really only struggled on the lag bolts, and even then, it still did more than I believe it's reasonable to ask an entry-level tool to do. All right, let's go talk about conclusions. Take one last glance at this chart if you need to. The run 1 is what occurred prior to putting in the 81 decking screws, and run 2 is what occurred after putting in 81 decking screws. All right, guys, freeze the frame if you need to. On to the conclusions. One of my thoughts about this brushless 20-volt hypertough impact driver, it is this. This is the first 20-volt hypertough impact driver that I tested that I felt like I really could build a deck with. Would I want to build many decks with it? No, not really. In all honesty, if I was doing this professionally, I still go out and get a DeWalt. But if I'm building one deck, let's say you're a homeowner and you can put a single deck in your backyard, and then you can take this and place most of your tools in a drawer for several years without using them again, I say this is perfectly good. It's got a lot more power, felt a lot smoother than the previous version I tested, which was the brush model. And yeah, I actually feel like this could do a serious job of building, let's say, a deck in your backyard, provided you actually pre-drill the larger lag bolts. Like for instance, I put a 1/2-inch lag bolt into pressure treated 4x4 without pre-drilling it. You would only do that if you're testing an impact driver and showing it on YouTube. In reality, I would have pre-drilled it at a reasonable hole and then put the lag bolt in to, 1, prevent splitting the wood, and 2, to keep from damaging the driver. But I did it just for testing, and it did it without much of a problem. The only thing I would say is if you're going to do a large project with this, I would go ahead and do 2 things. I'd buy a second battery, and I'd get the rapid charger. The charger that comes with this is fine, but it's rather slow. It can take 3 to 5 hours to fully charge the battery. If you're taking a lunch break and you want to really get those batteries charged, I would get the rapid charger. The other thing I would also do, and I say this every time I do a video with any 20-volt tool or any battery operated tool, is look at the other tools in the same line to see if you'd be happy buying the other tools that take the same battery. And the reason why I say that is you want to be able to swap batteries or share chargers between them when you're doing a large project. For instance, you don't want your drill and your impact driver, in most cases, to not take the same battery. Otherwise, how would you swap batteries if you needed to? And also, since especially with hypertough, where a free battery, if you call it free when you buy it, comes with the tool, you're going to get lots of batteries if you buy several tools from that line of 20-volt tools from hypertough, and then you can swap them depending which tools you need to use for a given project. Okay, guys, I hope that made sense, and I'm going to simply say this. I'm impressed enough to say this, that if you've only used the old 20-volt hypertough impact driver that was the brushed model, and you kind of thought, hypertough, I'd say give this one a try, and I think you'll be impressed by the difference in power, and again, especially given the price for a typical homeowner or renter that's got 1, maybe 2 large projects and then isn't going to use it for a while. Again, if I was doing this professionally and using it day in and day out, let's say for months or years on end, of course I'm going to go with a much more expensive tool, whether it's the brushless Heart, which is actually very good, but I don't know, honestly, I would go with DeWalt or Milwaukee or one of those more serious brands if I was using it day in and day out. But for a couple of large projects, I'm going to say I'm pretty impressed. And I'm going to say I plan on putting this up against a 2-year-old DeWalt Atomic, which is their compact impact driver, and also the Heart brushless model, and just to see how much of a difference there is now in terms of at least initial performance, not necessarily longevity, and we'll see how well they do. But that's a future video. For now, I just want to say 2 things. 1, I'd like to get paid by YouTube, so please hit that subscribe key so I can get over 1,000 subscribers. And 2, I want to thank you for your time. If you've made it this far into the video, I really appreciate it, and I truly hope you found the information in here useful. And again, I'm just an average guy. I'm not specially trained. I'm a homeowner. I built a couple of decks, helped with a couple of minor renovation projects with other people. I am not like a retired professional builder. So these are my opinions based on using the tools to do day-to-day tasks and typical homeowner stuff, plus building a couple of decks. All right, guys, I'll talk to you all later, and I hope you're doing great. Bye, y'all.
All right, guys, this time we have a 0.3-inch lag bolt going to pressure-treated 4x4. And again, there's been absolutely no pre-drilling. And I also don't have the right size bit. So you know what that means? We're going to reshoot it.